Do you know what it feels like to be invisible? No, not transparent like a cool superhero. I mean the kind of invisible where no one cares if you're around. That's me, Celine Davis. Don't click away. This isn't one of those sad forever stories. Being invisible was the last thing I had to worry about. The day started like any other. Boring brand cereal, no milk. Dad's door shut, his cough faint through the wall. Ever since Mom passed last year, he's been like this, grieving, sick, and stuck in his room. I stopped knocking ages ago. What was the point? At school, Jessica's voice trailed behind me. Of course. She strutted up with her pack of perfectly manicured minions. Nice shirt, Celine. Did you borrow it from a garbage can? She sneered loud enough for everyone to hear. I clutched my books tighter. Ignore it. Just keep walking and they'll move on. But no, Jessica wasn't done. She grabbed the strap of my bag and yanked, spilling my notebooks all over the floor. Oops! My bad! I dropped to my knees, scrambling to pick up my stuff while people stepped over me like I was just an uneven section of the floor. Typical. My face burned, but I kept my head down. I told myself it didn't matter, but deep down, I wished I could tell Jessica where to shove her designer shoes. The rest of the day felt like a slow-motion disaster. By the time lunch rolled around, I was hiding in the corner of the cafeteria. Suddenly, the feel of the room shifted. Darius. Everyone whispered and giggled, sneaking glances like he was a celebrity. Tall, confident, and effortlessly cool. He moved through the cafeteria, not even noticing the attention. Not that I blamed him. If I looked like that, I'd probably ignore the rest of us too. I didn't expect him to notice me. Why would he? Invisible corner girl, remember? So when Jessica accidentally tripped me in the hallway after lunch, sending my books flying again, I braced myself for the usual humiliation. But then I heard his voice. Seriously, grow up. I froze. That deep, steady voice didn't belong to a teacher. I turned. Standing a few feet away, Darius had his arms crossed, looking at Jessica like she was dirt under his shoe. Jessica blinked, totally caught off guard. What's your problem? He spoke flatly, not even raising his voice. You. Pick on someone else. Jessica's face flushed. She sputtered unintelligently, thrown off by his brazenness, but Darius just shrugged. Her friends tugged at her arm, clearly uncomfortable. Come on, Jess, let's go. Jessica scowled, then sent me a final death glare and stormed off down the hall. It was the first time I'd ever seen Jessica back down, and it wasn't because of a teacher or a principal. No, it was because of him. Darius didn't even glance at me. He just picked up the notebook closest to his feet, handed it to me without a word, and walked off. The hallway buzzed with whispers, but Darius didn't pause or even care to acknowledge the hum following him. Everyone liked him, but he didn't seem to like anyone back. Lukewarm about everything, except apparently me getting bullied. And I was clueless why. That was just the start. Whenever anyone tried to mess with me, Darius was there, calm and detached. One moment, he'd be leaning against a locker, the next, walking past me, deliberate. Then there were times I caught him outside. Once on my way home, I spotted him across the street. He wasn't doing anything, just standing there, hands in his pockets, like he was waiting for something or someone. And then there was last night. I couldn't sleep, so I peeked out my window, and there he was, standing on the sidewalk. At first, I thought I was imagining things, but no, it was him. Frozen in that one spot, low-key creepy. He didn't even look at my house. He just stood there like some kind of silent guardian. I didn't know if I should be flattered or freaked out, but one thing was for sure. I needed answers. The next day, I finally worked up the courage to confront him. It was between classes, and I spotted him leaning against a locker near the library. I marched straight up to him, my heart pounding in my chest. Hey, can we talk? Darius glanced at me, his face unreadable. Sure. I looked around, making sure no one was listening. Then I leaned in, lowering my voice. Why do you keep following me? Who are you? His expression didn't change, but he stepped closer. So close I could see the flecks of silver in his eyes. For a second, I thought he was going to answer. Instead, he did the last thing I expected. Darius dropped to one knee in front of me, right there in the middle of the hallway. My spine stiffened and my eyes darted around. People were starting to stare, whispering behind their hands. But Darius didn't seem to care. He bowed his head like a knight swearing loyalty to a queen. Darius! What are you doing? Silence. An eternity, possibly seconds. Later, he stood up, brushed off his jeans, and walked away without a word. I was stunned. What just happened? Why would he do that? And most importantly, what did it mean? A few days after the whole knight in shining armor bowing before a queen thing, Dad's health had taken another nosedive, and I missed school. That morning, I brought him cinnamon oatmeal, watching him eat maybe 2 bites before pushing it away. Dad, you have to eat something.
I'm fine, Celine. Go study or something.
Sure, because skipping school to play nurse was my dream job. Then the doorbell rang. I almost didn't answer. Dad didn't need visitors. But when it rang again, more insistently, I finally opened it. Darius. He stood there, hands in his jacket pockets.
Why haven't you been coming to school?
I glanced back toward the hallway where Dad's coughing echoed up and down. I've been busy. Darius didn't move a muscle. He just stared like he could see right through me. Finally, I sighed. Look, my dad's sick. I have to take care of him. Without a word, he pushed past me. Oh, wait! What are you doing? I stammered, but he was already heading down the hall like he knew exactly where to go. In Dad's room, he stopped by the bed. Dad squinted up at him.
Have we met?
Darius didn't answer. He stepped forward and put a hand on Dad's forehead. Hey, stop! I started, but before I could finish, something incredible happened. A faint glow surrounded Darius's hand. Dad's eyes widened, and suddenly he sat up, strong, clear-voiced, and healthy.
I feel fine.
Dad jumped up with zest like nothing had ever been wrong. I stared, slack-jawed, my brain scrambling to keep up. Dad's relief turned to fury as he got a full view of Darius.
You! Stay away from my daughter!
Dad, he just helped you.
I don't care!
Dad was shouting, pointing a trembling finger at Darius.
Get out! Celine, promise me you'll stay away from him. We'll move if we have to. Just stay away!
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Darius had just done something miraculous, and Dad was acting like he was dangerous. Darius didn't argue. He just gave me one last unreadable look, turned, and left. I promised Dad I'd stay away, but keeping that promise, this was going to be a lot harder than I thought. After Dad's outburst, I tried to keep my promise. I really did. But every time I replayed that moment, who was Darius? How did he do that? And why did Dad seem more terrified than grateful? So I did what any reasonable girl would do. I started following him. It wasn't hard. Darius had a pattern. School, then the park, then the abandoned bridge just outside of town. He'd stand there for hours, staring into the distance like he was waiting for something. Finally, one evening, I broke. I marched straight up to him under the bridge, heart pounding. Okay, Darius, what is your deal? Who are you? And don't even try the mysterious silent thing. I want answers. For a second, he just stared at me like he was deciding whether to tell me the truth. The whole truth?
You're not ready for this.
Try me. He sighed, glancing up at the horizon.
Don't say I didn't warn you.
Then he looked me straight in the eyes, and his next words flipped my entire world upside down.
Your mother wasn't from this planet.
I'm sure I misheard him. Come again? He continued as if he hadn't just dropped a nuclear bomb on my life.
She was the queen of my world, and you're her rightful heir. I was sent here to protect you and bring you back before our people find you themselves.
My legs felt like jelly. You're insane.
Am I? Let's see how you explain your dad's recovery or fury.
I opened my mouth, but no words came out. None of this made sense, except maybe it did.
Your mother gave up her throne to protect you, but now that she's gone, they're coming for you, and they won't stop, no matter who they have to destroy to get to you.
My stomach twisted. What do they want from me?
To rule through manipulating you. Your presence on Earth is putting your father and this whole planet at risk. I'm here to give you a choice.
What choice? He stepped closer, his gaze steady but filled with sadness.
Stay here and risk everything, or come with me and embrace your destiny.
Destiny? He made it sound so simple. Could I really live with myself knowing I was putting everyone in danger? Destiny. A word from dreamy fairy tales, but for me, it was a nightmare. How could I leave Dad behind? How could I leave Darius? I found Darius in the park the next day, his usual retreat. There has to be another way. I can't leave my dad, and I can't. My words hitched, but his eyes softened like he already knew.
I can't leave you either.
He stared at me for a long moment before sighing.
You don't make things easy, do you?
Never. Darius hid us in a cabin deep in the woods. Within days, Dad and I found a peaceful, safe rhythm. Darius stayed nearby, always watching, always protecting. But this time he wasn't just my silent guardian. He was the sentry who chose to stay. One evening, as the sun set behind the trees, I asked him, "Do you really think this will work?"
It will.
And for the first time, I believed it.